abstraction with these weird, messy figurative paintings, and not knowing where the heck I was coming from, and wondering, oh my gosh, is Keith on drugs? Does this have something to do with outsider art or thrift store painting, or what is going on with this work? They didn't. Of course, it was like an RSR show. A lot of painters really loved the show, and I got really kind notes from great people. And we actually sold some stuff, but it threw people, and so I felt like I was doing my job. This was from Jesus Christ Superstar. Still I'm a spiritual seeker. I haven't found allegiance with any one religion, but Christianity has always been big in my mind, at least in the movie musicals, and so I was listening to Jesus Christ Superstar in my basement in Christopher Street, and I had this epiphany where it fell on the pallet when these electricians came in, and it looked like he'd been stoned with like rocks or paint, and I was like, Eureka, it's finished. And this was next to this weird painting where I really want to create like front versus back energy, where you can kind of reach in and kind of grab that ball in the middle, but have it say something without declaring what it is. This was mixed with like the pictures of Olivier's Hamlet, but allowing myself to really deal with the ideas of the third meaning and diverge from the photo and make it messy in the hopes that something else would come through. Next to this painting, which I still teach comics to this day, and I felt like the idea of like that centralized icon I keep talking about is that you can't suture into it because it's so simplified, and wanting people to have that optical effect where they're kind of going in and out and undulating into the image and have it spin back and forth. And looking a lot at modernity and stuff, but not wanting to quote it, but realizing the essential nature of that stuff. Of course, the problem with modernism is it doesn't extend itself outside the frame of the picture plane. Picasso and Braque are great, obviously, and Matisse, but they're painting basically nude women to get their yayas out and doing optical things within the picture plane. But Guernica is a great painting because it has something to do outside of Picasso's life. But everybody knows the problems with that kind of work, and yet I felt at this time there's sort of a space for that. I had friends who had HIV, and they would take Special K and go to all-night raves, and I realized like, oh, that's like abstraction, because they couldn't control what was happening in their bodies at that point. And again, this is right before the cocktails were coming out, but they could take this sort of disassociative drug and go to all-night rave and feel like they were having this outside of their body experience that was like freedom, And I felt like, oh my gosh, if you're looking at a Rothko, or if you're looking at a Pollock, and you're looking at the whoopee-woo action of how it moves and having that sort of sublime effect work upon you, it's like taking Special K, and there is politics in that. Like, it is good to get outside of yourself and go into another space and think about stuff. But again, I wanted to switch it up and put it next to representational imagery that would sort of lead people in terms of content. So this is Olivier's Henry V. Next to this, like, weird, wild image of this other transcendent space that maybe is sort of sexual and strange. This is from Jesus Christ Superstar, again, and I was doing a lot of kind of automatic painting and finding things in it, like sort of dreamlike imagery. Again, I'm a son of a psychoanalyst, and I really feel that what happened with postmodernism is that we took sort of a different track, like I still don't think that we figured out everything that there has to do with dreams. I'm really interested in the Red Book coming out by Carl Jung, and I feel like we can't explain away everything that we think that we know. And I think even though postmodernism was dealing so much with ideas of language and content being derived from it, I feel like obviously if a picture says 1,000 words, it has that aesthetic property of going into another space, and especially if you're painting and doing something out of your head, the stuff that's leaking out might be something from your unconscious that's instinctively working beyond your critical means, and maybe extra stuff comes out of that. Like, there's in my mind, like a weird flying rabbit that's holding this weird goldfinch, like bird, and I didn't know that the goldfinch represented like the Passion of Christ, but it came out like that. Next to like these sort of undulating circles, again, I became sort of like the circle guy in a way, like with some of these circle paintings, but again, like I became frustrated with that, and once it started feeling like a product, I kept switching it. This was next to Frankenstein. And before I'd done these narratives with titles that implied narratives, but for this show, I just called it New Paintings by Keith Mayerson, because I felt like the narrative was sort of my life, with these sort of iconic proxies. And this would be situated next to the Frankenstein, as if Keanu in Point Break is killing the Frankenstein monster painting on the left of him. mixed with this sort of burning landscape painting, which was really important to me. This was one of my first really automatic, abstracted, figurative paintings where I was starting to see different things come out and trying to leak through my conscious or make my dreams palatable. I did a ton of these paintings I don't even have slides of. This was of a porn star named Johann Pollock that I was just using as an image to rip off of. But it was really, really tactile. And again, this kind of painting wasn't seen at that moment. And people still remember the show. It was a notorious show. I got Time Out just had come out at that point, and I got this horrible review from this person who just didn't even understand the show. But people really remember that review still. But then I got good reviews from like other like Art in America, and people did like it. So I felt again like I was doing my job. Where I was, I think a good art show, either people love it or they hate it, but they argue, and it's like turning over the topsoil. And I always want my shows to be like a giant bomb, but in a good way, where it's like, and people are like, what the heck is that? And then it makes people think, hopefully. I didn't know, though, that people would like freak out as much as they would. These were drawings that were downstairs. This is a drawing about dying. It's Montgomery Clift, but I didn't realize at the time it looked like kind of a grim reaper with like this reaper. These were Mike Myers from Halloween. After he kills and they take off this weird clown mask. This was a circle painting, and again, I'm saying these galleries just to give you a context where they were, but this was in Luring Augustine at this moment, in the summer group show where I'm like, wow, Luring Augustine. And people liked this painting, but again, like, I started doing too many of them, or it felt like production, so I stopped. And I really was interested in that burning landscape thing. This wasn't a show curated by Klaus Curtis at Mary Boone, but at a time where this kind of abstraction, you just didn't see this stuff. And people were like, what do you have affinity for the New York school? Like, what does that mean to you? And I'm like, well, I love that work. I'm not really thinking about that work. I'm just making these paintings that comes out looking like this. But it kind of freaked people out, but painters liked it, and, I felt grateful to do them. And this was the Four Horsemen, and so I was listening to, like, Joy Division and depressing music for one, and for this one I was listening to those Harry Smith recordings of, like, sort of religious music. This was more of a depressing one, sort of Joy Division painting. And then it was next to this one, which was supposed to be sort of this happy painting. But this was getting to the end of the 90s, and my boyfriend and I we moved to 46th Street, got out of a little tiny apartment on Christopher Street, and we were living between 5th and 6th Avenue, which was really repressive and weird. There were only suites around during the daytime, and then at night it would be abandoned. And the day that we moved in, we were moving stuff to the floor people, and this piece of wood fell over and killed our puppy, our little poodle puppy. Remember I was going to tell you the story about the poodle? And totally depressing and tragic. And then at the same day, we found out that the mob was running a bordello underneath us. We're walking up the stairs, and they're like, hey, come in here for a second. Look at this wallpaper. Like, what is all this wallpaper? It was like this weird red velvet, like, New Orleans bordello wallpaper, and we were like, ugh. And it wasn't, like, cool. Like, these people definitely had killed people and stuff, and they were like, what kind of business are you in? And Andrew, my boyfriend, said, like, which was true, he was teaching at the John Jay School of Criminal Justice. So we told him that. And then we were like, what are you guys doing? They were like, we're on travel. Like that. So we were like, oh no, this is really depressing. So Andrew just got really bummed out. There would be these haggard women that would come in every night, and they played this demonic disco music downstairs. They'd be like, and you're like, oh gosh, this is evil, this building. There's like a tombstone on the roof that said Raphael on it. I don't know how I got up there. So we got, depressed. Andrew was really depressed. He was like, I gotta get out of New York. It was 1999, and besides like Y2K scare, there's Ted Koppel on news reports about anthrax could be released on the subway, and we had like End of the Millennium Madness. And I've been doing like okay in the art world and stuff like that, but I was like, at that point I was 30 or 29, and I had this sort of like post-adolescent epiphany of like the mendacity, this real Holden Caulfield moment of like, oh, the art world. Who cares about rich white people? They weren't the audience I ever wanted to talk to. Like, who cares about any of this BS? And so I was like, I want to retire like Rambo. And we had this opportunity to buy Andrew's grandfather's shack on the hill in Riverside, California. And so I was like, okay, I'm just going to retire. I pulled all my stuff out of their art galleries. We moved to California, and I thought that was going to be it. And I taught at UC Irvine, and that was cool because, you know, it's a good school. And I decided to do these sort of plein air paintings, kind of like, you know, romantically or like Gauguin.